Ready to escape into a world of enchanting pixels? What is up, my peeps? And today we're going to be reading Dumbo. So, let's get started. The circus train was loaded and ready to start the trip north from winter quarters in Florida, but it was waiting for something. The clowns were ready, the acrobats were ready, nearly everyone was ready. The giraffes stuck their heads out and stuck their long necks through the roof of their car to find out the reason for the delay. Only the elephants knew why the train hadn't started, and the old gossips among them whispered the secret to one another. It's Mrs. Jumbo. She's waiting for her baby. Just then, a stork carrying a large heavy bundle flapped to a stop on top of the roof of the elephant car. Well, little fella, he said to the bundle, let's get going. Then he hollered, Mrs. Jumbo, calling Mrs. Jumbo. The other elephants waved their trunk to the hatch of the elephant car. Over here, Stork, one of them trumpeted. The stork fluttered down to the floor of the car and deposited his bundle next to Mrs. Jumbo. Here's your baby, ma'am, Jumbo Jr. Mrs. Jumbo carefully unwrapped the bundle. Smiling up at her was the most adorable blue-eyed baby elephant anyone had ever seen. The old gossips looked over the partition? I don't know how to pronounce that word. Anyway, at the mother and her new baby. Better than I expected, whispered one. Isn't he adorable? Said another. Coochie coochie, said a third, tickling the baby with her trunk. At that, Jumbo Jr. sneezed, and when he sneezed, his ears flopped forward. They were no ordinary large elephant ears. They were enormous ears, almost as big as the entire baby, and the gossips were horrified at first, but then began to giggle and laugh at the funny-looking baby elephant. Jumbo indeed, giggling one. He should be called Dumbo. That fits perfectly, but Mrs. Jumbo turned her back on them, wrapped the baby's ears around him, and cuddled Dumbo to her lovingly. The circus train chugged along, and when it had to climb a mountain, it struggled up the steep slope, panting, I think I can, I think I can. Nice little engine that could reference there. And when it started down the other side, it went faster and faster and huffed. I thought I could, I thought I could. Finally, the train stopped with a jolt at a little town. The circus people set up their tents and prepared to give their first show. Dumbo watched the other elephants perform. They could do all kinds of wonderful tricks, balancing delicately with 2 feet on a ball or tub, standing on their hind legs with trunk raised in the air. Looking at them, Dumbo wondered if he could ever hope to perform such tricks. His mother tried to protect him from the teasing of the circus folk and the people who came to see the biggest little show on earth. But once they caught sight of the little elephant with big ears, people laughed. One day, some children were especially unkind when one boy actually started to pull Dumbo's ears. It was too much for his mother. Mrs. Jumbo snatched the boy up and spanked him with her trunk. The ringmaster ordered her chained, and when she tried to break loose to join Dumbo, the ringmaster cried, She's wild! Tie down her trunk! Take her away! Put her in jail! Poor Dumbo! He was left alone in Mrs. Jumbo's empty stall. The other elephants would have nothing to do with him. He's an F-R-E-K, they said. And it's his fault Mrs. Jumbo is in jail. Furthermore, said the leader of the gossips, I wouldn't eat in the same bale as hay with him. A tough little circus mouse named Timothy overheard all this unkind talk. What's the matter with his ears? He asked. I think they're cute. Timothy decided Dumbo needed a friend, and he would be it. But Dumbo trusted no one anymore, and he hid from Timothy in a haystack. Look, Dumbo, I'm your friend, said the mouse to the haystack. Look what I've got for you. And he held up a peanut. Come on out and be friends. Maybe together we can get your mother out of the clink. Dumbo began to listen to Timothy, especially when the mouse explained that lots of people with big ears were famous. Now look, Dumbo, if you're famous, they don't make fun of you. They don't make fun of you if your ma don't get sore. If she don't get sore, they let her out of jail, and everything's okay. Dumbo nodded. So all we gotta do is to make you a star. Dumbo the Great. Timothy paused and scratched his whiskers. The Great what? He wondered. Hold on. Timothy paused and scratched his ears. The Great what? He wondered. Now it happened that the ringmaster wanted to build the most sensational elephant act ever seen. Timothy overheard him talking about it. In the ring stand 17 elephants. One climbs up on top of another until all 17 elephants make a tremendous pyramid of pachyderms? I think that's how you say that. I blow the whistle, the trumpets are trumpeting, the drums are drumming, and then comes the climax. The trouble was, the ringmaster had not yet figured out a tremendous climax. Maybe it comes to me in a dream, he said. That night, Timothy whispered in the ear of the sleeping ringmaster. The climax for your pyramid of pachyderms is the little elephant with the big ears, the world's mightiest midget mastodon, Dumbo. He would jump from a springboard at the very top of your pyramid, waving a flag for your glorious finish. The next day, the ringmaster got his elephants together for the premiere of their dazzling act under the big top. Inspiration had come to him in a dream. Dumbo would be the climax. The pyramid of elephants was a bit wobbly but ready. Dumbo was dressed in a costume with a little flag to wave. The trumpets trumpeted, the drums rolled. "You're on, Dumbo," said Timothy, jabbing the reluctant elephant with a pin. Dumbo ran towards the springboard, but just as he got to it, he tripped over his big floppy ears. Instead of sailing to the top of the high elephant pyramid, he sailed smack into it, knocking the elephants off balance so they flew in all directions. One elephant landed on the high wire. Two more found themselves bouncing up to the trapezes. One dropped down into the safety net, and its weight pulled the whole tent down. It was a disaster, and Dumbo's clumsiness and big ears were to blame. In a disgrace, Dumbo was sent to Clown Alley. "Oh, the shame of it," said one of the elephants. "Let us take the solemn vow," said another. From now on, Dumbo is no longer an elephant. The clowns needed Dumbo to be the baby in their burning building act. Dumbo was terrified of the flames. He was afraid of jumping down from the top floor window to the fireman's net. And worst of all, he was ashamed to be a ridiculous plaything for the clowns. But the audience loved the act with Dumbo in it. The clowns had never enjoyed such a big applause. After the show, Timothy tried to cheer Dumbo. "You're a big hit. You're terrific. You're colossal." But Dumbo was still sad. "Look," said Timothy, "you were such a hit, the clowns are drinking a toast to you." The clowns were celebrating their new success with champagne, and a bottle of it tipped over and spilled into Dumbo's water buckets. Timothy and Dumbo innocently drank all the water, wondering at the strange bubbles in it. After an attack of hiccups, both fell asleep, and Dumbo had a remarkable dream of pink elephants and flying. When Timothy and Dumbo awoke, they were amazed to find themselves up on a limb of a tree with a flock of crows. They knew elephants can't climb trees. There was only way they could have arrived there. Dumbo must have flown. Timothy became very excited. "Your ears, Dumbo! They're perfect wings! You flew!" But Dumbo didn't want to believe it. Finally, to help him, one of the crows used some psychology. He gave Dumbo a magic feather to hold in his trunk. "Now you can fly," they all told him. Timothy sat at in the rim of Dumbo's hat, and the crows got behind the elephant on the branch of the tree and pushed. "Flap your ears," Timothy instructed. Up, down, 1, 2, faster, faster. Get up your flying speed, and Dumbo took off. He'd fly just like an angel," exclaimed one crow. I'm better than an airplane," said another. "Brother, now I've seen an elephant fly. I've seen everything." That day, Dumbo made history when he joined the clowns for the Burning Building Act. Instead of jumping from the top floor, Dumbo, with Timothy perched on his hat and the magic feather clutched in his trunk, flew. He flew all around the circus tent, looped up to the very top of it, zoomed down and around. The crowd, clowns, and the ringmaster watched in amazement. Suddenly, the magic feather blew away. Dumbo looked startled and started flapping his ears. "Come on, Dumbo, fly," Timothy urged. "Open up them ears. The feather was just a gag." The feather was just a gag. You can fly. Honest you can." Dumbo started to drop to the ground, but at Timothy's words, he began to wave his big ears again, and he soared up, up, up into the air. He could fly. He could really fly, all by himself. "Wonder Elephant soars to fame," said the newspaper headline. "Dumbo manager signs Hollywood contract." On the circus train, Dumbo, Timothy, and Mrs. Jumbo, happy to be together at last, traveled in style of Dumbo's private car. From that day on, Dumbo was the star of the circus. Ooh, this is interesting. So this bit of history tidbit has two sides to it. And my camera decides to blur. Come on. Seriously? There we go. Okay. So as usual, you can pause the video here to read more. Hopefully I got all that in frame. Alright, our next story stop will be, of course, 101 Dalmatians. In the next video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to y'all later.